Hi everyone, this is Nikola Cvetkovic from CODEstantine, your host of the meetup today. As you know, CODEstantine is a developers community started in Serbia in the city of Niš, and we host the biggest physical conference called CODEstantine for 5 years in a row. We decided to move it online and bring you the interesting speakers and experienced speakers from all over the world to share their experience on different topics. Just like that, today we have with us Victor Rentea. Correct me if I didn't spell it correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, correct me.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, good. You didn't expect that. And he will be talking about IntelliJ productivity tips. So the secrets of the fastest developers on earth. Believe it or not, after the session today, which will probably last for about an hour, you will have all the secrets that you need to be the fastest developers on earth. Thank you, Victor, for going above and beyond to share these secrets with our community. And if you haven't already, go and subscribe to CODEstantine YouTube channel to follow all the upcoming videos as well. Kind of sign up for the mailing list and for future events. We already had like 8 really amazing speakers over the past 2 months. More yet to come. So make sure you go to the CODEstantine.com. So CODEstantine.com and sign up to view the past and the future events. My name is Nikola Cvetkovic. I'm the host of CODEstantine, as well as kind of the founder of Product Hive, SaaS product development agency, and Emito, a no-code business messaging hub. And today, as I mentioned, Victor Rentea is with us from Romania, Bucharest, and he has more than he has a lot of training experience, training companies all over the world since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So you will hear a lecture from somebody who does trainings for living, among other things, and coding. So we are super excited to have you here, Victor, to talk about the productivity tips, especially for Java developers in particular, but I'm assuming that a lot of these tips and tricks are available in other kind of languages and IDEs, no matter what people are using. So how I see it, it's kind of the something that even juniors should learn first. So how to get their way around the IDE, how to be the most productive, and kind of learn some small stuff, which are just maybe keyboard shortcuts, so just some tips and tricks that you can know and that can really speed up your development and kind of make the room for error smaller, which is often kind of the best value you can get, to have less errors in your code. So Victor, sorry for a slightly longer introduction. That's how I usually do.
No,
so
that's a very good introduction. That's exactly what I wanted to start with. It's super important for people at the beginning of their career to get to know their tool better. In order to, because at the beginning of your career, you can't really focus as a senior can. I mean, there are so many new things for you, so many frameworks, so many domain logic to understand. And at the beginning, it's very hard to really keep focused. And actually, that's the challenge we face even as seniors. So mastering the tool and getting rid of all those quirks and all those annoying details is a cornerstone to really seeing the big picture and focusing on the real problem, not getting distracted about putting the semicolon at the end of the line. So this kind of stuff. And exactly, this is what I wanted to start with also. Do you have any other things to add, or should I take over?
No, you can just take over. I'll be jumping in if I have any questions that maybe somebody from the audience might also have. So this will be a pre-recorded video, so there will be no live questions from the audience, and some of the topics before. But I will do my best to still try to keep it interactive and also ask a few questions that somebody watching might be asking themselves as well. So
That's
just
super
go ahead.
important. Yes, and in case one of you who's watching this later wants to add or correct something that I said, or want to just provide the feedback to me, just this is my email. Feel free to reach me out and tell me how you think, or maybe there are some tricks that I've missed, or you should like to see something new or something like that. Just feel free to reach me. It's fair to introduce myself. My name is Victor Renta. I'm a Java champion. I've been coding for 15 years already. I'm the founder of one of the biggest developer communities in Romania. It's called Bucharest Software Craftsmanship Community, with more than 3,000 developers doing stuff in English every month. And I'm trying to come up with new ideas, new topics every month. If not me, then I will bring someone to talk to us. And it's very, very engaging. There are roughly 100 people in average in any event. Then I have a website on which you can find some of my past talks recorded on different conferences, a blog, and also I also have some video courses on Teachable. And very soon I will open classes for whoever wants to join, like 1 or 2 days long. With the help, I mean, there will be like open classes for whoever wants to join. As Nicola told you, I'm doing trainings nowadays most of my time, and my topics include the typical Java stack like Spring, Hibernate, functional programming, performance and reactive programming. These are really advanced topics there. Then pragmatic domain-driven design, then clean code refactoring. This is what I did today, earlier in the day. Unit testing and test-driven development. Now, I'm doing this for the past 8 years, and my trainings are really, really intense. So don't expect basic stuff, expect like medium to advanced topics in there. Yeah, that's my website. I'm also on the social media, not so active recently, but I will come back soon. Right, this summer affected us all. So let's kick in with some code, right? So we are here in, by the way, one more thing. You said that these are applicable in most of languages. Yes, that's true. But if you use a tool from JetBrains, I mean, although indeed there are some equivalents to some of the features, I will be showing stuff which is specific to IntelliJ, right? That you can't find in Eclipse, for example. Yeah. And some of these points here actually triggered me to move from Eclipse after 13 years of Eclipse. Moving to IntelliJ was a pain. Yes, I can imagine half a year of pain, but it really paid off. Good. So, just to make it clear, I'm not a JetBrains employee. It's not a pitch. I'm just showing you stuff that I'm using in my presentation because people ask, and I feel like, okay, let me show you what I do really. How the hell do I write a code like that? Now, at the beginning of the career, when someone writes code, we've already hit 8 extra characters for nothing. If you just typed C and you waited a bit, it's already there, right? Customer dot. Now, some people, I mean, many people don't really know this thing, but if you go this far, you already get to the point. So get rentals, it's already too much to write. You can type directly rentals. What do I want to say? Stop putting the get particle in there. Get rentals, get you the rentals. And also, you don't need to type the whole token before the dot. I call this the over dot completion. You don't need to finish the first token. C.rentals get you to the rentals. Good. And now,
okay, I think we already saved like half an hour each day.
Yeah.
So I think
this alone will save half an hour per day. So just typing exactly what you want and stop typing get. You are not allowed to type get anymore. So just type your stuff. Right. By the way, this get particle is really caused a lot of pain in Java world. That's why the newly added records in Java 17. This, by the way, 14 September release date of Java 17. Records, the getters in records don't have the get particle. They look like rentals. That's it. So finally, after what, 25 years, we finally got rid of the get particle. That's a disease that spread in Java world, and yeah. IntelliJ allowed us to.
Like two weeks ago, we had a topic on like what's new in PHP 8, and like the thing that I was mostly blown away is like the trailing comma at the end of the parameters in function. So like you were not able to have a trailing comma at the last parameter. So like you always had it when you copy and paste to make sure to follow it. It took also about 25 years, so it's not just Java. Every language has a quirk.
Every language has its own problems. Yes, of course. Good. Now, in the same spirit, if you have a person, now after you instantiate the person, what you probably want to do is to put it in a variable. Now, most people, when they think of creating an object and then putting it in a variable, they, after years and years of struggle, they start with doing person equals new person, and they waste a lot of time doing that. Now, what you need to do instead is just do new person, do your stuff. So I need a person, new person, and then I need a variable for that person. Now, guess what? If you hit Alt-Enter right there, it will show you as a suggestion to introduce a local variable to keep the newly created instance. So anything you do that gets you into gets a value back to you like this gets me a string, right? After you finish that expression, maybe you want to make it uppercase. I don't know. After you finish that expression, Alt-Enter, enter makes a variable out of this with a reasonable name most of the time. So if that's a first name, Alt-Enter, enter creates a variable named first name, of course. So that's why I almost never define variables anymore. I just type my expression, Alt-Enter, enter makes my variable, right? So this is first name, right? Another thing here, Alt-Enter, this Alt-Enter stuff, we will use it a lot, you will see. But again, coming back, person dot first name. Now you could type first name, but that could make ambiguity in some place, or maybe name is not enough. There are too many variants. So what you can do is type first name. Look at what gets blue. Super important. First name. Now, probably you've already seen that. I mean, one of the first things you learn in a legacy project in Java is that you can find classes by just typing their primary, the words, the first letters of the words, legacy code. This is because typically Java code in old code looks like abstract class, abstract singleton factory, for factory, for, I don't know, custom order, and very long names. Okay, and you can find them very easily by just typing the first name, abstract singleton factory for custom. It's very easy, right? Just type the first letters. The same applies when you autocomplete stuff. Okay. Oops, what the heck happened? Wait a second. Good. So this is what I wanted to show you with first letters, or putting the first letter of every word. Yes, and also I showed you over.completion. There is a variant of that when you want to use a static method, system current time millis. Now this also works, as you see, for statics. Okay, current time millis is a time, so Alt-Enter, enter makes me T0, duplicate the line, and this is T1, and there you go. You have your measuring to do your delta or whatever. Good. Now, with static methods, however, there is another way to get to them, which is just to type current time millis. Like it was a function in here. There is no function next to me with these letters. But then if I control space once more, I will get automatically a suggestion to use the static method from wherever in my system. Okay, current time millis. So this expands to the same thing. Also very useful, assert equals. Okay, if you just control space twice, you get a suggestion for assertions. Now, what you can do is to in a unit test, for example. But I personally don't like to see these assertions dot. So then guess what I will do? I will put my mouse or my cursor there and then Alt-Enter static import. And I used to do this over and over I mean, thousands of times. I think I did it until one day I got an email. I got an email from Nikolai. Nikolai told me that he works in IntelliJ IDEA team. And I was like, what? So what? I also work in IntelliJ. I code in IntelliJ. But then I realized that he was developing IntelliJ for 15 freaking years. Okay? So then I panicked.
Just for disclosure, it's not me, Nikolai. It's Nikolai, somebody else.
Just Nikolai. It's a Russian guy working for JetBrains. Damn it. Panic. The moment to panic, right? Like, oh, God. And this guy told me tricks that I didn't know. And he told me that if you auto-completed these assert equals with double control space, and you wanted them to directly import assert equals and make a static import for that, then you can hit Alt-Enter right there in the suggestion dropdown. You see, so while I had the suggestion dialog open, Alt-Enter and gives me import statically, the first thing. Alt-Enter, and it expands to this, and at the top, import static. So automatically, without doing extra effort just when you have a static method. If you AltEnter enter, it gets you statically imported. Okay, this could be very handy. Good.
So sorry, just one
Good.
drop in. So it's IntelliJ is a Java IDE from JetBrains. So how much of this is applicable to other JetBrains software like WebStorm, PHP Storm, etc.?
Maybe up to 80, 90%.
Okay.
The stream part won't be. Static part will only work if your language has static things.
Yeah.
But this in particular works in WebStorm, for example.
Yeah.
So, and also in PHP Storm for static methods.
Yeah.
So try them all in your own editor. And by the way, these are the Windows shortcuts. Search for the Mac correspondent. I don't have them written here, but there are, of course, in Mac. These are Windows. All right. So let's see the next one. Imagine you are in the person, and you want to add one more field. For example, I don't know, address, maybe string address. Now, what many people do at this point, if they want to generate the getters and setters, they do alt insert and then they generate getters and setters, which is not necessarily bad. But in my trainings, I've seen very easy people falling in this trap of generating blindly all the getters and setters. As a matter of fact, I've been called to help some employees of some companies pass the interview for their outsourcing company, and their employees had this problem. Every time they would create an object, they will blindly generate getters and setters, and they were being rejected on a constant basis, almost, because they were blindly generating getters and setters. Getters and setters should be generated when you really think you need them. So that's why I really love that you can generate the getters and setters by just typing what you want, those getters. So I need that getter, I'll enter, and this gets me the getter. I need that setter for the address. AltEnter gets me the setter. Okay, that's a more fancy setter that returns, we call this a fluent setter, returning the same object. But this is a plain old setter. You need a toString. You just type the stuff, toString, and you get the same dialog that you get if you alt insert generate. You need the hash code equals. Guess what? Hash code. And it also generates equals, of course. So all the boilerplate that you typically do, in other words, all the things that you see in alt insert, you can access by just typing them up, which can be very, saves a bit of, you need to alt insert and then up, and then select what, why? Just type the stuff. So just generating boilerplate by just typing it, right? This is what I wanted to show you, okay? Also, imagine the following scenario. You want to do person, and then let's imagine you have first name, and then you concatenate it with space, and then you do person, and by mistake you do first name again, and then to uppercase. Good. Now, if you do that, this is an expression, as you know, AltEnter enter, it creates you the variable and also puts the lovely semicolon. Let me do that again. I was here. I didn't have a semicolon, and the text could have been like this. With incorrect formatting. AltEnter enter creates me the variable, puts the semicolon, and adds the missing spaces if there were. So very comfortable. This is the full name. And then you realize that it's not the first name here, but that it should be the last name. So what do? You come here and you type last name, and then you do another mistake. You hit enter. The next moment, you are back into the monkey mode, trying to deleting, and then, yeah, you did it. Congratulations. You are a good developer. No, my friend, you are a stupid developer because you don't know your tool. Your tool allows you to do tab, which overrides the current token. Don't get your mind into the mindset of delete. This is the lowest level abstraction you can get to. This is like, I don't know, you're polishing the furniture. That's not what you want to be. The engineer, you want to be the architect, not the one who deletes the extra characters, right? So whenever you are on a token and you want to change it with another token, after you get the suggestion, tab overrides the current token with the one that you selected. Very, very convenient. All right, nice. Let me show you another one, which is super cool. Let's imagine that you are in the person here. and you realize that this phone is optional in the database. Okay, it can be null in database. Now, that would mean that whoever accesses the phone could get a problem. So, for example, if you do person phone, again, mind what I write, and then surprise, surprise, s out. What the heck was that? Person get phone dot s out. Now, probably if you are coding in IntelliJ, you know about s out. It expands into this, and then you type your stuff inside. You may not have known that if you have an expression already written, you can do s out. This is called Postfix Expansion, and that will expand into a system out of the thing that came before that dot previously. Okay, so I was here, I type s out, and I enter, and the thing that was before my dot came inside my method call. Super cool. We will add one of this postfix expansion ourselves very soon. But before that, if someone does that, and perhaps this, then you just committed the bug, because if the phone comes null, you will be printing a line like this. You don't want your users to see a line like this, do you? So what could you do? You could make sure that the getter never returns to me a null, but instead you want to return an option, because that's how we handle nulls in Java since 8 years ago. So instead of returning a null, I want to return an optional of that thing. I will show you two ways of writing this. Okay, pay attention. Two ways of doing the same thing. You will learn something from each way. The first way is to start by doing optional. The moment you got the token correct, you can press, if you press enter, yeah, it's good, but you can do better, right? Because next you need to do bracket, or angle bracket, and you need to go into that edit mode and that typist mode. You don't want to go into the typist mode. You want to be overlooking the work and telling IntelliJ to do the hard work. So right here, right in this moment, don't press enter. I know this from Nikolai. By the way, do you know what I answered to Nikolai when he told me this? I've reached the source. So I finally met someone who develops IntelliJ. Thank you. So this guy told me that when I am here, I can do Control-Shift-Enter. Who the heck would know to press Control-Shift-Enter in here? I mean, you are Control-Shift-Enter. Look what happens. It wraps the following token in the thing that I wanted in that optional of string. Oh God. So then what happens is that you get a compilation error, of course. Now, your cursor is here, and your mouse is in the other room, okay? You don't want to touch your mouse. I mean, to minimize the amount of moving the mouse, this itself, or even worse, the trackpad, uses a different part of the brain than you typically use when you're coding. So it's like you have to move the finger. The first question, where is my finger? Then put the finger on the trackpad, let's move it. Oh, you don't want to play darts while coding, really. So if you are here, to get to the next error, the easiest way is to do Shift-Enter. Shift-Enter, and then Alt-Enter to fix the problem. Because we know, this is an error, right? This is a red thing. Whenever something is red in front of you, you need to have a reflex, Alt-Enter, and ask IntelliJ, what could you do about that? Now, this is so common that I really wrote a poem for AltEnter.
I'm sure everyone are eager to hear it. If you need some background beatbox, just let me know.
This is our life. When it's red, yellow, blue, or gray, AltEnter will save your day. Beautiful. Enlightening. So you should always try to use as much quick fix. Now, to be politically correct, we've also mentioned the competition, right? Control 1 or control dot. This means like quick fixes that your editor, these are super valuable. I can almost tell how much code one has written by looking at how frequent he presses Alt-Enter. Really. So if you are in this habit, then you're good. Now, if you Alt-Enter on the error, you will see an option here, wrap using optional. What the heck is that? Enter, done. Okay. Now, These guys from JetBrains, they told me themselves, they actually have a unit test that checks that everywhere you click in the code base with several exceptions, AltEnter gives you some suggestions. For example, set address is never used. Guess what? Delete. So as a game for you tomorrow, try to click anywhere in the code to see what happens if you AltEnter random things. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, you will have surprises, I bet. Now, this is the first way of writing, of converting to, oh, and by the way, this AltEnter, make it static import, of course. This is the first way. Let me show you the second way, also interesting, maybe even more interesting. Again, let me generate the plain old getter, as it was before, with that get found, and then start from the inner out, from here. I want to type this thing, okay? I want to type optional of nullable. How do I type that? Optional dot of nullable, of course. Now this gets me to the method. Now what should I press? If I press enter, if I press tab, that's completely wrong. But if I press Control Shift Enter, again, Control Shift Enter will take the method that I was pointing at, and it will wrap whatever comes after in a method call, like this. Done, right? In 4 characters. Right? And then it's read. Guess what? AltEnter. Enter. Done. So
it's like it's coding for you.
What?
It's as if it's coding for you.
Like I've typed 5 characters, 7 characters, and it wrote like 20, 30 characters. I came after years and years of coding to a place in which you actually know what you want to do, but you search for the path that will allow you to use as much AltEnter as possible, right? As much quick fix. And I've seen many seniors in that stage. They know that they can approach the problem in 3 or 4 ways, but they take the way that involves the least typing, right? So this is it. And then perhaps you want to, I don't know, maybe import that as a static if you want. If not, it's good enough. So Control Shift Enter. Let me play that again. Let's suppose that you have like a method. Let's say method that takes a string in and does some weird manipulation. In my case, s dot very weird. Now this string manipulation over here, you see, I am supposed to return a string. Guess what? AltEnter. So the moment I see something red, I don't think AltEnter, and then the solution is almost always there. Of course, if you tear your code apart and if nothing compiles anymore in the code, IntelliJ will lose itself and it won't know how to help. But if there are several compilation errors, most of the time AltEnter will fix them. Now let's play the same Control Shift Enter, but this time I want to make the full name uppercase completely, like let's say transform. So how do I do that? Let's suppose that you were printing full name to the console. And now I want to print not full name, but transform of, I need to make this static first. Transform of full name here. If now I press enter, I get in this stage. So, but if I press Control Shift Enter, it wraps the token. Very convenient. It's incredibly often this thing. Very, very, very useful. Good. Okay, what else? Yeah, I did the second time that thing, full name dot sout. Now, this is called the Postfix Expansion. Postfix because it comes after the fact, after the token. This token you want to sout. Or maybe full name plus like this sout. Anything that comes before the dot, it is placed inside the expression that you expand. Postfix. There are two other postfix expansions that I really love. One of them goes like this. Imagine you have a list of numbers, right? For example, numbers, and then you want to iterate on the list of numbers. Now, iterating on a collection is famously painful. You need to for, and then many people start scratching. What type should I put there? Oh, int. Okay, n, in, number. My God, how much typing, right? But look how you can write this. Numbers dot for. Super useful because you go to the collection and you want to iterate on the collection. Dot for, and that expands in the same thing. Okay. Also super valuable when you have to dig deep to get to the collection. For example, customer get rentals, and now .for. Done. You see, so .for on a collection expands into an enhanced for like Java 5 style. Cool. And now let's see the last one, which is very cool. Imagine that you want to print yeehaw on the console if and only if the argument is not null. Okay, strange example, but anyway, if well, you could start like this: if argument is not null. Now, if I am in this, my brain tells me by reflex, now press Control-Shift-Enter, Victor. What would do Control-Shift-Enter at this moment? Control-Shift-Enter, you've seen it before. It was wrapping this method, but Control-Shift-Enter here will finish the statement. What does that mean? It means that it will put all the necessary syntax to complete the if, and also the spaces. Let's do that again. So I was typing if args different than null, Control-Shift-Enter, and my cursor is nicely placed inside. All I have to do is to put this inside, and I'm done. This is one way to write this. But another way to write it is the following: args different than null. If you, I think you expected that. If and then s out. Hello. So .if, .for, .s out, and to be fun, let's add our own. Let's define a custom postfix expansion. Now, I'm a big fan of Lombok. Yeah, Java is old, 25 years old, and Lombok fixes some of its problems. This LS4J basically adds for me a logger, right? A logger. So to that logger, let's suppose I want to do log debug, and we do log debug in our practice hundreds of times per day. Log debug, and we do stuff, and then we do number. Okay, we just printed something to that, and we do that all the time. Now, if I wanted to print to the console, then I could use a postfix expansion to do so, like this, right? So wouldn't it be cool to have a postfix expansion to print to log debug? So let's create one. I will go here in postfix. This is how you find it, postfix completion in Java. You will create a new one, Java. Now, this, I will call it .log, okay? It will apply to any expression which is not void. So the thing that comes before the dot shouldn't be void, should be some expression. And should contain everything that comes before the dot should go inside log debug. What should I expand to? Log.debug. And then in parentheses, I should put the expression which came before the dot. Good. Okay. That's it. Let's test it. So if I ever write stuff.number and then log, enter, log debug. Now, things can get a bit different. You might want to log the customer, so you just have to write customer.log, and it expands correct. Actually, no, because I need to have it as a string. So good. Oh, by the way, if I were here, the simplest solution to put all the spaces, Control-Shift-Enter again, will clean the line and finish it completely. So what have we learned over here? .log, we created our own postfix expansion. Good. Now, let's pay more attention to this SLF4J. Now, I am basically seeing roughly about 10 or 15 teams every month in different trainings. And I'm doing this for the last 8 years. So I've seen quite a lot of teams already. And I can tell you that about 80% of teams today worldwide are using Lombok. Okay, about 10% are angry with Lombok, and about 10% don't know about it. But no one is indifferent to Lombok. You either love it or you hate it. No one is just indifferent to Lombok. Anyway, imagine that you are in those 10% unfortunate that really that have a tech lead that really hates Lombok and really wants you to not ever use Lombok. In that case, you need to type something like private. Oh my God, static. Oh God, final. Oh no, log equals logger factor. No matter how much tricks I use, I still need to type a lot of stuff. IntelliJ play.class. Right? A lot of monkey work here. And this will be repeated every time in every class I ever write. Well, every class, most of the classes that I write. Any class that contains logic for sure. And you will end up copy pasting this line, and then maybe sometimes forgetting to change the class, but it should be X here. Right? So this kind of repetitive code shouldn't be copy pasted or manually written every time. No, for Christ's sake, no. But instead, it should be a live template. Now, what the heck is a live template? For example, when you type S out, clearly, like this is a live template. It expands to some code. Okay, the same thing I would like to have, but to generate this line of code for me. Let's give it a try. Now, someone from JetBrains told me that if I am here, I can actually extract from this block of code. I could create a live template based on that. Save as live template, very convenient. Save as live template. And that particular bit of code ends up here, right? I want to call for this live template with a log s. S comes from SLF4J. In my mind, this is what I always have. Log s. And that should expand to such a line. Now, this line should be placed, and I will say the description, add a SLF4J logger. Then here, the problem is, what do I place here? Right? This should be the current class, right? The containing class. So that's definitely a variable. But this variable, if I just leave it like that, let me show you what happens. It will place my cursor there, you see, and it will invite me to type the name of the class, but that's not enough. I mean, what the heck? I don't want to type that name. It should be able to figure it out itself. And in reality, it can. Let me show you. Live templates. This variable that you defined over here, you can actually make it and by default assign it the value class name. I mean, the class name in which you are currently, right? And then class name dot class. Now, another trick here, if you don't want if you don't want IntelliJ to ask you to fill anything, you can check this box. And then what happens, that variable will expand to the current class that contains the place where you expanded. Done. And also here. Now, this, I mean, just look at how many functions could you use there. I mean, that's something really cool. And I know some people out there that were actually selling, I've heard about someone selling a set of live templates to generate Kubernetes deployment scripts, for example, on money, not Bitcoin, on dollars. He was selling his set of live templates. I mean, this can grow into a very handy thing, especially if you're doing repetitive work. Okay, so done. Live template, we made our own. Yes.
Yeah, while you're on it, maybe some people are wondering, so how did you move the whole line up and down in the contents of the...
Alt-Shift down, Alt-Shift up. Now, I should tell you, I'm sorry that the shortcuts should have been displayed, but I have a bug. I wasn't able to fix it until now. But there is a plugin that should show me the shortcuts. But to compensate for that, go to my website, and I have here in a Google Drive folder a shortcut cheat sheet with shortcuts both in IntelliJ, in Eclipse, and also in Mac. And they displayed the shortcuts that I just showed you. Let me show you in IntelliJ. And just for fun, let's show IntelliJ on Mac. I don't have Mac, but I want to just show you this one. This, to move a line up, down, let me, come on, Google. You can do this. It's a picture, actually. So to move line up and down, this is what you need. I think it's Option Shift up, for example. So these are some of the shortcuts that I use daily, or at least daily. Not all the shortcuts that I'm showing. So duplicate and then move. Yeah. Good. What do I want to show? Let's see. Tab completion, live template, postfix expansion. Good. Control-Shift-Enter. Yes. And also Control-Shift-Enter works in case you are starting to write something like public static F of int x, and now you want to get to writing the function. Right now, oh, I'm missing the void or something. And right now, Control-Shift-Enter will finish this line and open the statement to complete it to a complete syntax, to a full syntax, and put my cursor where it should be. Right. Other tricks. AltJ. Oh, this is my favorite. Now, AltJ was really the trigger that made me give up Eclipse and move to IntelliJ. I knew how hard it would have been to me. I knew how hard it's going to be, but I still did it because I was like completely puzzled about this feature. Look, imagine you are this in this movie, for example, and you want to convert these into an enum, because these are constants. We prefer to use type-safe enums today, okay? So let's first create the enum. Let's name it, of course, category. And then let's try to convert these into an enum, create the enum values as fast as possible. Now, first thing, we all know to copy paste the code, put it there inside. Good, but then what? Then you need to actually go and to delete here and then delete here, and then I forgot what I was doing. So instead of that, IntelliJ comes with the following thing. You select a token which appears multiple times underneath, and you press Alt-J, and you suddenly get 3 cursors. 3 times the salary, you wish. But the point is you get to edit in multiple places, but that's not all. Eclipse has a similar feature, but look what I can do. I can press end. Christ, I can press end and then edit in multiple places. Oh my God, this is so good, right? And I'm done. Amazing in SQL import scripts. It also works in HTML. Super, super cool. But I must warn you, this is not really a refactoring. This is like code editing. And Visual Code also has it, and Sublime Editor. So there are other editors that have this feature. Super useful, really. And you get the point. This actually finds wherever that token appeared everywhere in the file. You see? Here. Super cool. Okay, Alt-J, multi-cursor. Super, super handy many, many times. Good. Come back here to see what else do I have to cover. Yes. One more thing here. This hello. It may happen, there is quite a bunch of code that was previously executing every time, but then you have to execute that chunk of code only if something happens. In my case, only if args is different than null. What can I do to do that? Of course, I can type args different than null, and then if, and then move the brace later. But it's, yeah, and then I have to select the text and put tab, and what the hell? It's a lot of pain, right? Oh, another trick that I've been shown by a group to which I presented this. Control, and then this will get you to the block which is containing you. You see where it gets me? And then if you press Control-Shift, the other bracket, the closing bracket. So if I'm here, Control bracket, Control-Shift bracket, it selects me the body of it. Play with that. Control bracket, square bracket, Control square bracket. Anyway, so what I want to show you as an alternative to writing if and then, it's very simple. You just select the block of code that you want to put in an if, and you surround with, all the editors in the world have this, surround with an if. And then if you type args different than null. Oops. Done. Okay. So you surround with, and the tabs are put automatically, the closing bracket and everything.
So what did you click to get the surround with pop up?
In Control-Shift-T in Windows.
Mm-hmm.
Control-Shift-T. Where is it? Surround with. I don't find it here. Bah, come on. Control-Shift. I don't find it here. Yeah, I should update that. I will.
Yeah.
Control-Shift-T. Surround with.
T as table. Right?
No. I'm wrong. Control-Alt-T. Alt-T.
Okay.
Control-Alt-T. Control Alt T, and this, since you ask about questions, if you press Control Alt Shift T, all the three, and then T, that's a refactor, gets you to the refactoring dialog that you can refactor anything you want. I mean, like extractive method and anything you want in this selection. All right, good. So what else do we have? Let's see. Yeah, one more trick for you. In case, in case you want, for example, to surround a certain token, a certain selection in a single quote, you just thread the text and you press the quote or the double quote or the open bracket, open parenthesis. I just typed the opening token and it wraps the selection with a matching closing one automatically. So I'm just typing open bracket, open parentheses, open square bracket, and it adds the matching one at the end automatically.
So just the actual character, no shift, no controls.
Well, to get to the character, I have to press shift, right? So shift, because in my keyboard, the parentheses is shift 9. I hope the same for you.
But that's basically just the character itself.
Just the character, exactly. Just that character, exactly. Good. Now, there is some things to show you about navigation. Now, probably you all know that Control Alt back and forward gets you like to where you've been before. Control Alt back and forward, but Control E comes very handy. Control E shows you a list of all the files that you've recently viewed, just the recent files. And if you are using Control E wisely, and I know several people that do that, you can actually get your IntelliJ. It's like a challenge for you. Try to enter distraction free, and all the buttons will just disappear. Nah, good luck. The first panic is, where the heck is the series of tabs at the top, right? The reality is that not when you first enter a project, but if you've been working on a project for more than 3 months, you kind of know the classes that you need to go to. And then the tab on the top actually ends up confusing you sometimes, because the order of the tabs and which tabs are displayed and which are not displayed, sometimes it's very annoying. Sometimes the class that you need to go is not in the recent tabs, it's later. But with Control E, you can just type the stuff. So I want to go to legacy code. There you go. Type and you can easily find the file that you want by at least part of its name, right? If you do that, you will give up completely using the tabs. And the next stage, the next challenge for you will be to enter distraction-free mode and shock your colleagues, okay? It will be that like bragging around, look, I don't have tabs. Yeah? I will really invite you to do that. Really. Now, just as a challenge, right? The next problem that you will probably have is, how the heck do I get to project structure? I mean, look, I was there in appearance distraction free, and I want to get my project structure. Right? Alt 1 will get you there. Now, but how do you learn these? How do you learn these so good that you can actually give up to all those things? It will help you if you install yourself this lovely plugin, Key Promoter X. Now, if you do something with your mouse, for example, let's imagine that we extract part of the code from here. Right click, oh my God, refactor, and then extract. Oh my God, if your boss sees you doing that, I'm kidding. But using the mouse to refactor. Key Promoter X kicks in and says, master, what if someone sees you using the mouse? Please don't do that anymore. It's shameful. Please use this. No, I'm partially kidding right now. I've used my mouse at the beginning of my career, of course, for years and years, but it will really promote, really teach you how to use keys. And this will tell you that actually you can press Alt 1 to get to project structure. Anyway, these are already more advanced tricks, but to get comfortable with code, and the goal of today was to show you tricks that can comfort you and can allow you to stop focusing on little details and stop on the design and keep focused on the design and on the really things that really matter. In the same style, let's imagine that you want to sum up the numbers in this list, or maybe no, to double them and to put them in another list. Well, let's type this with all we know until here. First of all, we will need a new list, right? So new array list, AltEnter, enter, and that should be wrong. Look, this is a style of writing which doesn't help me. So no, and you should search for the ways to write code which are the fastest. Starting with new array list doesn't help me here, but it will help me to start with list of integer results equals, and then new, and then wait for the suggestion. Guess what suggestion it will appear? Come on, what could you want as a list, right? Array list. Now to finish the statement, Control-Shift-Enter puts the semicolon. Then on the numbers, you need to iterate. Okay, you need to iterate. Now on the results, you need to add. What do I need to add? Number times 2. And now look, I'm missing the spaces, I'm missing the semicolon. Control-Shift-Enter. Right? And this is it. Now you can print the results. Done. Now, all of this, actually, you could have written far easier, right? Using streams. You could use stream, map, collect. Guess what? IntelliJ knows that too. What did I do? I clicked on 4, AltEnter, replace with collect. Panic moment. What do you mean replace with collect? Enter. Oh shit. Oh damn it. So all my work, right, is a single line, basically. Again, so imagine that you run into code that looks like this with streams, and you don't like streams. You can do the other way around. You can AltEnter the stream and replace with loop. Enter. And again, if you are in a 4, let's imagine this is it's more complex than this. Let's surround this in an if and only double the numbers which are odd. Okay, strange example, but anyway, like this. Is it right? Number integer time. If it's odd, then add it. If you can convert this back to a collect, and it will put all the necessary filter map, right? So loop and stream are interchangeably very, very easy with what I showed you, right? Now, besides this, the ability to change from one to another, IntelliJ also supports you to write easier the, look, let's type it with streams from scratch, numbers, dot. People now normally type stream, but since 6 months ago, you don't need to type stream, type directly what you want, map. Of course, stream, map, what the heck. Numbers, map, and any n you take, you double it, and then collect to list. AltEnter, and AltEnter, enter now. Done. Oh, not what? AltEnter. Results. So try to type as little characters as possible, and as a guideline, always try to find the shortest path to get to the point. No matter what kind of code you are usually writing, spend 1 hour one day and to see what is the least amount of keystrokes you can type to get your job done. Okay, it will make you see the big picture, not focusing on the little details. All right, there are several more interesting ones. For example, to know the fact that IntelliJ remembers whatever you copied since the beginning of today, everything, it's already there. Control-Shift-V is in Windows. To show you the places that you've been recently, Control-Shift-E. If I press this, it will show me 3 or 4 lines in the places that I've spent time recently, allowing me to quickly go to different. It's really, really, really helpful, this one, in large projects, because you lose track where were we, right? What else? I've showed you this, I've showed you that. Well, I think I'll stop around here. There are much more tricks to show you, but let's say the ones with the most impact, I think I've covered. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can take a few minutes more. If there's something else you'd like to cover, we don't have to end it sharp on 1 o'clock. But I think this is super useful. I mean, there's already a lot of information, but yeah.
So then let's go to legacy code. Oh la la. So imagine you are here.
Oh no, my eyes hurt.
Yes, feels like home. So this is a horrible legacy code. And one of the things that you do all the time in legacy code, you extract methods now. And sometimes it's so hard to find out what should you extract. So look, there's a trick for you. It's called Control W. Control W will expand the selection. Control W. And it works both ways, Control W, Control Shift W. Let me show you. Control W will expand the selection. Expand, 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 expand. And it will allow you to pick some chunk of code that is big enough. And then you extract a method and say, God help us all. Okay? I'm partially kidding, but this is super useful also in HTML. In HTML is a lifesaver. It can select increasing blocks of HTML, and then you can take the div and move it in another place. Or JavaScript works to any language that has a syntax, selecting larger and larger blocks in the syntax tree, basically. And if you went too far, you can go Control Shift W, contract it back. So super useful. I mean, I use it very often. This one. It's silly, but it's super useful in practice. Okay. Now, other things that you should know about AltEnter. Look, this variable over here, int I. This is what I call C++ style definition of variables. You know? The only thing that's missing from here is a char star. If I saw a char star, I would be finally happy. I would feel like nostalgic, like high school, excellent char star. This is how we used to define variables in high school, right? Because we were amazed. Oh my God, a variable. Oh, and we defined them all at the beginning, right? Now, this in Java is an antipattern. The variable should be defined as closer as possible to where it's used. So just AltEnter on the variable gets you, fixes it. J equals 5. What are you doing here when you should be next to J? AltEnter, move declaration closer. And you blindly, almost blindly, AltEnter move, AltEnter move. This one, you can't move it. Why? Because it is where it should be. It is the one returned at the beginning, at the end, you see. Result, another pattern from the old days, having a result variable assigned in different branches and in the end returned. Another anti-pattern today in Java. What you should do, AltEnter the result, move return closer to computation. What does that mean? It means that, just look a bit. If you assign the result to 2 and then you return, guess what? It's like return 2. How about this branch or this branch? Technically speaking, if you would do the refactoring manually, you would do a bug, because previously the function didn't end here. This also used to run. So putting an early return is error prone, quite error prone. So you don't want to do this change manually. You want to leave IntelliJ to do it. It will only replace the return here, not here or here. If these lines weren't here, the return could have been pushed further up. Okay. And again, it's not fair to return from here because I'm in a 4. It's not okay to return exactly from here because I might be reassigned the verb. These kind of details you don't want to tackle yourself with your tired brain. You want to leave IntelliJ to fix. The things that are related to syntax can be done by IntelliJ. And of course, if you're having an if and then else return to, look at the depth of this function. What you should do is to flip the if, invert if, do it like that, and then else becomes redundant, isn't it? Because you return. The same here. And again. And then the result can come closer. And that's more like it. Okay, now what do these mean? That's another story. But at least it's more reasonable to understand. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you more or less.
Cool.
Okay, there are things which I missed or things that I should have mentioned. Feel free to reach me out. This is my email around here somewhere. It was here. Let me write it again. Around gmail.com. Okay, if you want to know more about me and my training activity, go to my website, victorenta.ro, and that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Victor, very much for this in-depth, quick guide into how to be the fastest developer on Earth, how to utilize all these kind of shortcuts, as well as kind of tips that comes with the IntelliJ IDE. As we mentioned, probably a bunch of this stuff is also available in WebStorm and PHP Storm and other JetBrains tools. So it's super useful, not just for Java developers, and also if it's not completely the same, there's probably something similar in other words. So just being aware that these stuff exist is probably a lifesaver, and then know what to Google, and hopefully, if not Stack Overflow, then somebody else has written about it. So I want to thank you very much for taking your time to speak for CODEstantine, to invite again everybody to go to the CODEstantine.com website. Should probably be written out somewhere here or in the comments.